So in this video, we're going to talk about actually cutting out our figures and shapes and objects and things like that using a technique called layer masks. Now, layer masks are a non-destructive method of basically erasing and hiding content. Now, what I mean whenever I say non-destructive, basically non-destructive workflow is a style of working within Photoshop where rather than deleting pixels or having to destroy content that already exists, you're kind of building on top of that so that you can always return to an original state. You can kind of think of it as like I can always remove anything that I do to either of these images. I can always revert it back to its original format. And I don't mean like undoing through the history or stepping back through the history. I mean, I can actually change, let's say I make a modification to this one, I can always come back to it years and years later, 100,000 steps later, and change that modification. Now, if I was ever to use, say, the eraser tool, which in this class we'll never use the eraser tool, it's going to give me all these warnings and things like that. I'll just show you what this looks like. This is one way that I've seen students like delete pixels, so they erase all around. Let's say we wanted to isolate this tree. They would erase all around this tree. Well, if I keep working and let's say a month I've been working on this project and I decide, I really meant to erase this part and I erased this part or something like that. Well, you can't really step back that far. You can't kind of go back in time like that. So without undoing everything else that you've done. So we're going to be working non-destructively in this class. And I'm going to be teaching you the non-destructive workflow. If you get a job using Photoshop, you will be using the non-destructive workflow.